how to get inspired for your designs. I don't know if you can remember that in our, I think our two last classes, I mentioned that you should have a folder on your laptop, on your phone. It could even be a physical folder where you keep design that you like. May I let you know that today, just today alone, I've saved over 10 designs. I've screenshotted about 3 or 4 designs today. So I do it every day, and it's something that you guys should do every day as well. Ensure that when you see designs out there that you like, designs that are very good, even if it's a physical flyer, maybe it's dirty on the floor, pick it up. Nobody is going to stone you for picking up something on the floor. When it's not somebody's money, nobody's going to stone you for that. Nobody's going to chase you or shout at you or arrest you for picking up a flyer on the floor. No one is going to do that. So it's best for you to just, when you see designs that are good, physical flyers or online flyers, try to keep them. It's always good when you save designs, whether you pick it on the floor or you screenshot them. Now, there's something you need to understand that as a designer or a business person or whatever it is you do, the strongest asset you have is your mind. You know, and I don't know if you guys listen to Sam Adeyemi. In one of his videos, he talked about the fact that the people that earn more are people that do mental work, not physical work. Do you guys understand? Do you know that some carpenters, a carpenter can earn say 30,000 naira, 50,000 naira, 80,000 naira, depending on the kind of work they're doing. For their work, they exert a lot of energy. But for you, for just a logo, do you know you can charge as much as 120,000 and 150,000 for just one logo? You can charge as low, let me say low, as low as 100,000 naira for just a logo. It's very, very possible. All you're doing is mental work. When you see a maram that is digging or that is clearing a farmland, ask them how much do you, in fact, I don't even let us go too far. So I have a friend that got a plot of land around the state and he wanted to clear the land. So he spoke with someone and that person introduced him to someone that is going to clear the entire plot. And you know, he had a conversation with the person. He told the person to charge him. Like, what would you charge for clearing a whole plot of land? And the person said 7,000 naira. Do you know he didn't even bargain? He didn't even argue the price. He just said 7,000 naira, no problem. I'll give you 7,000 naira and I'll pay for the food. Those guys were so happy. But just imagine, they're probably going to spend the whole day on that farmland because they're not using tractor and they're not using any machinery. They're just using their cutlass. So it's human labor basically. So and they're collecting 7,000 naira. Why? What they are doing is they are exerting a lot of energy, physical energy. That's not where the money is. The actual money is in mental work, mental energy. So how do you now develop your mental, I don't want to say mental health, but how do you develop your mind? So that when you get gigs of that will going to develop you mentally, or gigs that are going to require you to use your mental energy to develop something awesome. How do you develop it so that your mind can take those things? It's by you feeding that mind. Do you understand? So there's no way your mind is going to be wide and do very good things if the mind is not well fed. Just imagine if you are hungry, do you think you can do a lot of things? No, of course. In fact, some people, well, like me, if you are hungry, if some people like me are hungry, when you talk to them, like they can easily get angry. Like, no, don't tell me anything. But the moment they are done eating, wow. In fact, you can even eat them, they'll just be smiling and laughing. Yeah, some people are like that. So you need to like feed your mind so that you can take up good things. And how can you feed your mind? By looking at good designs, by reading good stuff, by listening to good things. Do you understand? And that part is very, very important. So that's why I always say that you guys should, when you see flyers on the floor, when you see designs online, try to save it. And there's some Instagram pages I'm following, not because of that. In fact, almost all the banks in Nigeria, I follow their Instagram pages. Not because I'm banking with them. I don't even have an account with most of them. But I check their design, I follow their page and I also check their page because of their designs. So there are some designs that, oh, I actually love and I would like love to create something similar. So I will just be following their page when I will be seeing their posts and I'll be getting inspired. Like Selling Bank, Access Bank, Keystone Bank. In fact, before Diamond Bank merged with Access Bank, I love their designs. I love their 3D designs. Like there's a way they create 3D designs. And I can see that they incorporated it into Access More. You know, Access Bank has two pages. They have the Access Bank page, then the Access More. So the Access More usually have 3D stuff. And so I love that design with Diamond, but they incorporated it. Do you get? So I follow them. I don't even have an account with them. I also follow Fidelity Bank. I follow almost all these banks. Not because I have an account with them, but because it doesn't fit my mind. Do you understand? So, and you also mentioned that the sites you can go to get inspired is Pinterest, Behance, Google, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp. And I gave you guys under concentration.com/brand new. I hope you guys have checked it out. I gave you Just Creative, YouTube. And I also said that when you get emails, for instance, yesterday was Father's Day. I got emails from Access Bank, from Stanbic Bank, from Crowdivest, from almost all these banking this I've subscribed to, even some financial platforms that I don't even have an account with them. I just subscribed to their newsletter, like Patricia, for instance. I got emails from them. So I saw their design for Happy Father's Day. And I love some of them. Of course, some of them I don't like them, but then some I like. So I got inspired just looking at those designs. Do you understand? So it's always good when you look for avenues to feed your mind. Very, very, very important. Then the next thing I would love us to talk about is how to steal like an artist. How to steal like an artist is actually a book that I read and it changed my life. Like it practically changed my design life. How to steal like an artist and how to stay creative. Two of them are books by the same author, Austin Kleon. Those two books changed my life practically. When it comes to design, they changed me practically. Now, if you remember, I told you that I've not told you guys that the best for you to learn as a young designer is for you to look at other people's work. You look at other people's work, save their work, borrow elements from their work. That is what How to Steal Like an Artist is all about. And I'm going to send that book to the group chat tomorrow. How to Steal Like an Artist. I'm going to send that book to you guys tomorrow. The book is very, very short. In fact, I think the book is less than 100 pages. And don't be scared. Don't be scared. It's not a book that a page is about 1,000 words. No, I think a page for that, some pages are just 5 words. Some are just 10 words. You can imagine, some are just 20 words, some are like 100 words, 300 words. But the highest you ever see, I think, is about 300 or 350 words. There's a way you steal like an artist, there's a way you steal like a professional artist, and there's a way you steal like a thief. So please, I don't want you guys to steal like a thief. Stealing like a thief means that you copy somebody's work verbatim, like you copy everything. When the person use line, you use line. When the person use color red, you use color red. That's a very bad way of stealing professionally. Do you understand? So what does it mean to steal? In fact, I listened to Caesar Graphics one time, and he did a video. The introduction to the video, he said that when you copy from one source, you are a thief. But when you copy from several sources, you are a creative. Now, think about it too. He kind of played on words. If you steal from one source, you are a thief, like thief. But when you steal from several sources, you are a creative, like create and thief. Meaning that you create something that you want to steal yourself. Do you understand? He kind of played on words there, but I hope you guys got the idea. So it means that you don't steal like an artist, you don't steal from one source. Stealing from one source means you are a thief, which is actually true. and the person that owns that original design can sue you. And trust me, you go to court and you pay. How do you feel like an artist? You go to at least, which and this thing is something I do when I have brain blocks. So I'm not telling you just for you to just go and do it. It's something I also do as well. You go to like at least 3 sources, at least 3 different sources. Look at their designs, then pick different things. Whatever you see that is unique from those designs, pick them together and infuse them in your design. A very good example, you guys, for those that were in the former class, you notice that when I was creating my own design for the Happy Democracy Day, I saw a particular design that the person wrote happy, then democracy was in the scripted font, then the day and Nigeria was under it. And I said I love it. So from that design, I picked that style, the way the person wrote that Happy Democracy Day, I picked that style. So I stole it from I didn't even see it, it's like I borrowed it. I borrowed from that person's design, I infused it into my own design. That's just one thing. So just imagine if you now have 3 designs. Maybe one has a flag, one has that font style, written like that, then one has the hand. So you now say, okay, I like the flag, I like the hand, I like the way this person wrote the name. You now bring the thing of them together. You now use to form your own design. Everybody say, this design is very good, very nice. It's right. You actually borrow elements from different people, and that's how to still like an artist. You go to different sources and borrow elements from them. You go to, and you know the funny thing is that when you do designs like that, your designs will be very unique. When I say very unique, I mean very, very unique, such that people will not be able to tell which source you borrow from. But if you borrow from one source, the person used a flag, you also use a flag. The person used a green line, you also use the green line. The person used this, you also use it. Anybody that sees this design, they can tell that, the boy, this is where you picked this from. And you can be sued actually. Just like in Nigeria, we really pay attention to intellectual property, which is actually very, very bad. So copyright infringement is a very serious thing that if you dare attempt, I pity you guys. Like anyone that is being caught, you won't like yourself. Do you understand? So I actually have an offer for you guys, but I'm not sure I want to discuss it here. Maybe I'll just mention it then on the group chat. If you are interested, it's actually paid. If you are interested, it's not a class, so don't think it's a class. It's not a class. But then don't worry. As time goes by, I'm going to mention it. But in case I don't mention it towards the end of the class, if you remember, please just drop it in the chat box so I talk about it. So what I just explained now is how to see, like an artist, you go to different sources. For instance, maybe you've kept 10 flyers at home, you have 20 screenshots on your phone, and you want to create a design, and you go to the 10 flyers that you have at home, you pick maybe 2 of them, you bring them out, you look at 2 things that you like in those 2 flyers, you bring them out, the screenshots, you can maybe 2 or 3 or 1, and look at, okay, what do I like about this? Okay, I like the way they use their colors, and you bring it out. This one, I like they use the font placement, I love it. Then this one, I love the way they maybe use their image. And you bring those 3 or 4 or whatever number it is from different sources. You pull them together into your own. Trust me, you've created a unique design, a creative design, and that's how to stay creative too. Do you understand? Very, very important. Please, in case you have any question, drop it in the chat box and I will respond to it. Next, we are going to how to stay creative. Like I said, but I'm not sure I have a soft copy of this book, How to Stay Creative, but I have the hard copy. And trust me, guys, I would advise you guys, if you know you want to really go further in design, please invest in buying books. Don't just get online books. Online books are usually free. Don't just get somebody books from people, and please. I'm not saying that it's bad. Of course, you can do it, but then invest in getting hard copy books. The day I started buying hard copy books, I know the things I experienced. Do you understand? I've bought some books, and one funny thing is that design books are very expensive. Let's be frank. Design books, they are very expensive. How to Stay Creative, I think I got it, and this was like 2019. I got How to Stay Creative for about 8,000 naira. A book of about 200 pages. A very small book. Probably what I'll do is when I get home, I'll probably snap the book and send it to you guys. So that you guys can see how small it is, and it's 8,000 naira. So and there are some books that are very big that you get for 1,500, 3,000, 4,000. But this book is very small and it's 8,000 naira. I got it directly from the author. Though there was no autograph or something. It's not like that. It's not there. So I would advise you guys to like buy books. Very, very important. And there's even a book I bought too, Thinking with Types. That book changed my orientation of typography. Oh my God. I have the soft copy version. I'll probably share with you guys. That book changed the way I think about typography. Thinking with Type is a very, 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 very good book. So, how to stay creative? Guys, this is beyond design. Staying creative is beyond design. Staying creative applies to like our real life. Please, in case this meeting ends, try as much as possible to just click the link and join again. We are going to be out in about 10 minutes. So I don't want to repeat it again. Maybe one is about 1 minute, I'll talk about it because of the editing version of this video. So thank you. Now, staying creative is beyond design. It's about your own personal life. And I would love you guys to implement this. If you can, it's not compulsory. If you can implement it, try as much as possible to implement this. And what is this? It's about you spending less time attending to things that are not important in your life. This may sound strange, and I don't expect you guys to expect this in a design class. But the truth is that if you are not focused, you can easily lose it when it comes to design. Spend less time on things that are not important and spend more time on things that are more important. If you're just starting out, of course, you want to like do a lot of works, you want to build your portfolio. But one thing is that you can do this by working with fewer clients. Don't say yes to everybody. This person comes to you, how do you do a logo? Okay, how much do you have? What you charge is not what the person has. The person has maybe like 50% lower than what you charge. You want to take the person on. Somebody else is saying, I want to do a flyer. You take it. I want to do this. You can't kill yourself. So you need to like watch the things you take. Because if you spend too much time doing work for different people, you will not grow. Hello, guys. If you spend too much time doing work for different people, you will not grow. I resigned from where I was working because I noticed that I wasn't growing. Even though I was doing a lot of designs, of course. Clients were coming, I was giving them back to back. Awesome designs, good designs. But it got to a time I asked myself, Peter, are you really growing? This is you are doing, yes. And funny enough, they were paying you well ahead. So don't think that maybe they're not paying you well. And I now say, okay, I'm not good. I down to you. No, they were paying you quite well. So you guys should get to understand what I mean. Do you understand? So I asked myself that, Peter, are you even growing? Look at the designs you've done. Everything looks similar. I can't see myself. I didn't see myself growing. Why could you know those designs? You know, I also myself that, Peter, no, you have to leave. You need to go to an environment where you'll be challenged. Not that you do a design and they will just accept it. No, question the design. Ask me, Peter, why did you use this color? Why did you use this font? Why can't you change it? You know, I always want to do designs and people just, I'm not saying that you now badmouth the design, no, but give constructive criticism. I don't want just do design and just, wow, this is nice, thank you, and just take it. No. Because if I make some mistakes in that design, I will know. But when I do a design for you, I correct maybe just twice, or you at least you give a correction. When I'm redesigning it, when I'm effecting that correction, I will see something else to edit that you didn't probably see. So I hope you guys go on what I'm saying. I didn't even have time to even say I want to go and watch YouTube videos and grow myself. I didn't have time to read. And these are things I was doing before I got the job. So you can imagine how demanding the job is that I have to be working almost every time. Yeah, I was doing good design, but then working almost every time without me even noticing that I'm not even growing. It took me some months. At first, when I joined, I did, of course. I had to learn how to use some software that I didn't know how to use before, like Photoshop. I had to learn how to like talk to some clients and different things I learned. But it got to a stage that growth was retarded. I couldn't go further, and I noticed it because I know when I'm growing and I know when I'm not growing. So if you don't want to stay creative and you want to stay relevant, it's always good when you check yourself. This thing I'm doing, is it a chore? Do you know what I hope you know what it is when you say something is a chore. That or something is a ritual. You just do it like there's a process. You just follow the process and you just get it done. Sharp, 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 sharp. I don't know if I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Please, if you don't understand, just let me know. Drop a chat if you understand to you. Just say something and so that I will know that okay, you guys are following me. So while I was working, it was just looking like everything I was doing was just like a chore. So I didn't see it as an avenue for me to grow. I couldn't read. I couldn't do a lot of things. I closed very early. Sorry, I said I closed very late. Closing time usually is 5 p.m. But sometimes I leave work 8 p.m., 9 p.m. I've left work past night before. Sometimes once in a while I sleep over at work. Do you understand? Just for me to like get a lot of work done. And I resume very early. In fact, I think I even resume earlier than our cleaner. So just imagine. And our cleaner gets at the junction line is like 9 a.m. I get to work as early as about I think sometimes 7 a.m., 6:30, or even sometimes maybe if I'm late, maybe to 8 or after 8. And I close as late as 9 p.m., 10 p.m., sometimes 9:30. If I close very early, maybe I close 6 p.m. or past 6. Another sleep work 5 p.m., 5:30. Now, this is to let you see that, yeah, I was doing a lot of work, but I wasn't doing. Because if I were to do, when I close at the time I'm supposed to close, I would still have time to read. I usually get home tired. I wouldn't be able to do anything. Wake up the next morning, go to work. Yeah, I will do good designs and you guys will like it. But then I'm not growing. I'm not even reading, not listening to podcasts. I have to, for me to even read some books, I have to cultivate the habit of listening to audiobooks. So when I'm working, I'm either listening to music or listening to audiobooks. And that's how I was able to learn some things. So I wasn't creative again. Everything I was doing was just looking regular. Like, of course, this is what Peter will do. This is what we expect. But in my head, I'm like, no, I want to do something better. So if you want to stay creative as a designer or whatever it is you do, or whatever it is you do at all, you need to like check yourself. Am I doing? Sometimes you can be doing so much that you don't even notice that you are doing little. So you need to like check yourself. Am I doing the right thing? And also, an addition, I want you guys to be having a to-do list every day. Have a to-do list every day so that when people come to you with requests that you don't need or requests that you're not supposed to attend to, you will know when to not to attend to it. For me, personally, I usually have 4 different areas of my life that I treat every day. Every day. I have my spiritual life, like, and I call it my growth because I have to grow spiritually or anything can I have to grow. I call it my growth. The second one is my business or career. The third one is my finance. And the fourth one is my upkeep. When I say upkeep, it means other things like miscellaneous, other things I need to do. So for my growth, for instance, I do something like reading the Bible every day. I listen to I did some plans on YouVersion, if you know YouVersion. I did some plans on YouVersion. I do some things basically, and those ones are usually in the morning before I like set out my day. I set my goals for the day, probably a night before or very early in the morning. Then for my work and career, is there any design I'm supposed to do? Is there any branding I'm supposed to work on? I write all those down. For my finance, okay, Peter, what do you want to learn today about developing your finance? Okay, I want to read about the stock market. I want to read about agri investment. I want to read about buying shares. I want to read about cryptocurrency. I want to read about maybe mutual funds. I want to read about bonds. I want to read about ETFs. Stuff like that. I write those ones. I write them down as well. Then my upkeep is okay. Do you want to visit the laundry? Do you want to listen to some music? Do you want to, those ones are just regular things that I may do away with, I can do without them. That's the upkeep. Do you want to check up on with a friend? Do you want to call someone? Stuff, just minor things like that. That's really for me. That's just for me. I'm not saying that you two must follow. Even if you are not designing, after this class, in case you are thinking, okay, I just want to be using design for my business. I don't want to be doing it for people. I don't want to commercialize it. Even if that's what you want to do. See, even if you are working somewhere, if you check it well, there are some minor tasks that some people drop on your table. Let's be frank with ourselves. There's something that you do that is not your work. It's somebody else's work, but the person will come and drop it, and you don't want to say no. Why? Because you don't want them to feel bad. Oh, if I tell Mr. Peter no, he might feel bad. If I tell this guy no, he might feel bad. No. See, do you even know that other people can even tell you no faster than you telling them no? So what do you do when people tell you no? Do you feel bad? You just feel like, he's very busy. Let me not disturb him. That's the same way they also think when you tell them no. Do you understand? So it's always good when you check yourself. Okay, because one thing is, if you just wake up in the morning and you just pick your bag, you just bath and just go to work, you have no plan for the day. If you are going to stay creative for that day, it is through the help of God. It's not your own help. But do you also know that even if God is going to help you, it's always good when you go to Him with the plan and tell Him, God, this is the plan I have. So even if that plan is the wrong plan, He has a way of just turning that wrong thing to a good thing. Unlike if you don't have any plan at all. So I'm not preaching, guys. I'm not preaching. But then there's a part of, I think, proverb. Is it proverb or James? I can't even remember. That talk about the fact that God will not help that man that is dilly-dallying in his thoughts. That there are some men that their thoughts is being driven by the wind. That they're being tossed up and down. That God does not want people that are blowing hot and cold. Just blow hot. Let him know that you are blowing hot. Blow cold. Let him know you are blowing. So he will know what to do. And that's something that applies to planning. So for each day, as a creative, you are supposed to like have outline of things to do. Do you invest in your learning every day? Do you invest in you learning something new about your business, about your career, about your skill? Do you do something every day to like upskill? So that even if somebody calls you and says, okay, what can you do? And you show them your portfolio, you tell them these are the things I do. Sometimes when I go for some interviews for some gigs and all, whenever they ask me what is your strength, I don't tell them current job before this job. No. Anybody that interview, of course, they're interviewing us because we know how to use the software. They're interviewing us because we don't have our way around design. So what should I tell you that that's my strength? You know I can do it. So I'd rather tell you that my strength is in planning, time management, goal setting. And you'll be surprised, you'll be like, how does that relate to design? I now let you know that, okay, if I'm not conscious of my time management, I'll deliver your design late. If I'm not conscious of my own personal growth, it will not reflect in your design. Your design will just look like a regular design. You won't see anything spectacular in that design. Do you understand? So it's always good when, as a creative, you work on your own personal self, call it time management, call it business, call it career, your skill, everything around you. I've said a whole lot of things now, and I hope you guys can gather it together. And one thing I also mentioned is the fact that it's not everybody that comes to you that do this for me, do this for me. It's not everybody like that you are going to work for. There are some people that I shouldn't work for at all. And honestly, I'm saying this because I regretted some things. There are some jobs I've taken that it ended in tears. So of course I didn't cry. But then I'm saying that I would have loved it if I didn't take up that job than what actually happened after I took up the job and we had issues. The relationship was not very good or like how we started. So in my head, I was like, if I had known, I wouldn't have taken up this job. In fact, I even had that experience, I think this year, with one of my clients. They gave me a particular job. On a norm, I don't do that job. It's not something I do on a regular basis. I only do this once in a while. And I'm not sure I wanted to take it up. But don't let them feel bad. At least somebody recommended you. Just do it for them. Just for the meantime. Just do it for now. And I took up the job, and eventually we had issues along the way. I had to recommend somebody else to do it for them, so that the relationship was not very good again. And I don't want it to be destroyed. It's always good when you build bridges. Don't burn bridges. So I don't want to burn the bridge. Of course, the bridge is broken. So I don't want to burn it. So I had to recommend somebody else to take up the job. And I let them. And we're able to talk once in a while, not very well, unlike before. Do you guys understand? So it's always good when you have the things, okay, these are the things I want to do. Don't let people just come in and just bat on you. Don't be creative. If you plan, okay, today I want to read a book, and it's not like you have to read a book in a day if you cannot do it. It's your own personal development, your own personal time. If you know that, okay, I can only read 10 pages today, read your 10 pages and be fine. And make sure you learn and move on. So with that reading 10 pages every day, you can actually finish a whole book maybe in a month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Do you understand? So this is something that you need to be doing if you want to stay creative. And another thing that I would tell you guys is that for me, I have some sentences that I use when I want to say no. I will not tell you no, like I'll tell you just like that. You won't come to me, I'll just tell you no. I'll probably tell you something like, I would love to work on this, but currently I'm hooked up. I guess in the future, I would love to work on it in the future. I don't want to work on it. Or maybe, for instance, there was a particular client, I've worked with them before, and they troubled my life. Like, when I say they troubled my life, they practically troubled my life. I did a lot of work for them, and I was being underpaid. So, no, I wasn't even underpaid. I wasn't even paid at all for the work. Yeah. So you can imagine, then I didn't know this principle of ensure that you pay 50% ahead and all. I didn't know that. I was just working an endless chicken. So they came back to me, I think 2 weeks ago or last week. I'm not so sure. They want me to do another work for them. I just said myself that I'm not sure I want to take up this job. So, I spoke with my fiance about it. That, okay, you know what, I want to take up, these guys are calling me. I'm not sure I want to take up the job, this and that and that. And she was like, well, you can take it up if you like, but then I'm smelling that these people are going to stress you. I can remember the last time you worked with them. I can remember how much they stress you. And the way I'm looking at them, they might stress you again. So I called them. I didn't want to take up the job. And I didn't want to tell them, no, I'll keep this. I just told them, you know what? I have some conditions. If you can meet that condition, then we can work together. And they asked me, what are the conditions? I gave them the condition. And I know that they cannot meet up at least. There's a particular one that, even if they meet up every month, there's a particular one that they cannot meet up with. And I told them that was the one that is most important to me. And they're like, oh, so sorry, we'll get back to you. Today, they've not gotten back. Even if they get back to me, I'll tell them that prices has changed. It has been increased. I'll probably just give them like a ×2 of what I gave them before. So I don't want to tell them no, but that's one of the things I do once in a while, not all the time, once in a while, to some clients that I know that this client are going to trouble you. You can smell when the client is going to trouble you. You can smell it. Say for instance, you tell the client, this is the price I charge for this thing. And the client say, oh, this is too much now. Do you think the client will plug money from the tree? Clients that are saying that kind of thing, you shouldn't work with them. So at the moment when you are onboarding with a client, when you are talking to a client, you can easily tell that, oh, this client is going to be a good one, and this client is not going to be a good one. Another example that I'll give you before I move on to the next topic now is that there was a particular client that started me up, and they told me, okay, we want to do this and this, and I gave them the price. Though I increased the price a little bit, I think by 10%, I gave them, and they were like, okay, it's fine. And I said, you have to pay 50% before I start working. The lady said, no problem, we'll get back to you tomorrow. And that was yesterday. And all of a sudden, the next thing I just saw was 50% upfront payment. I was like, wow. They didn't even argue the price. There was no. So, of course, I can already tell that, okay, this one is going to be a client that I would love to work with. Do you understand? So, it's always good for it, like, when you see that this client is going to stress you, you don't necessarily have to do the work. Because by the time they start stressing you, your creativity is going to be squish, like your creativity will not be able to breathe again. Do you understand? So it's very, very important for you to like know the kind of people you work with, know the people you tell yes to, and people you tell no to. You don't have to take up every job. It's not compulsory. It is not compulsory to take up every job. Please and please, it's important to take note of that. And I will try as much as possible to get the book of Austin Kleon for how to stay creative. I only have the hard copy, I don't have the soft copy. I will try to get the soft copy. If something I can get, you will see that you mentioned these things there. And it's always good when you write out your goals for the day, write out your task and all. These are things that are going to help you stay creative. And please ensure you read something about your skill every day. That's the best way you grow. I learned something from Money Africa, and they said that if you spend 1 hour learning about your finance, do you know that one of the problems that most Nigerians have currently is finance? Let's be frank. Anybody you tell, they tell you there's even this word that is going up and down now, sharper, or they'll tell you cut so for me. All these things is related to finance, related to money. People don't even know how to manage their money very well. So Money Africa says something like if you can spend 1 hour every day learning about your personal finance, in 1 year, you have spent 365 hours learning about personal finance. Now tell me, someone that's invested 365 hours learning about personal finance, and someone that invested only maybe 3 hours in a year, who do you think is going to be financially independent in the two of them? The answer is as good as mine. Do you understand? So it's always good. Even that also applies to your skill. And there's something I held on to when I started learning design, and it's the principle of the 1,000 hours. No, I think 10,000 hours. Like if you spend 10,000 hours learning something, you become you get extraordinary. And I can't remember the author of the book, but I know I read it in the book. I think even this guy talked about it, Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki. They also talked about it. I can't remember exactly. This is me just roughing my head. Now, just imagine if someone spent about, and 10,000 hours is like 3 years and some months, actually, based on my calculation. Now, someone that spent 3 years on something, on a particular thing, you'll be so madly good at that thing that when you cough, people will study your cough. Like, what is the cough you just cough about design? People will study it. If you study English, yes, there's a man that's always coming up in every course that we do in English department, and it's called, the name of the man is Neom Chomsky. Anywhere you go, English, anything English, you will see that man. The man is so good to the extent that if he just thinks, like he's just thinking, oh, I think A should not be called A should be called G. People start studying it because he's so good. There are many other people that also study the same thing that the guy studies, but they are nowhere to be found. So if you can spend 10,000 hours on your skill, even if it's not design, even if it's something else, if you can spend 10,000 hours doing that thing, you'll be so good that people will, if they might want to like overshadow you, or they may not even want to follow you. But one thing is that you can never go unnoticed. And that's one of the things that this guy said, Steve Jobs. You know, when he wanted to launch the Apple products, that's the iPad, and the MacBook. He said something about the fact that people that use iPhone, and that's one of the things that is still happening today. They are not just gadget users. There are people that you might not believe them, you might not follow their ideology, you might not even buy into their own core values and all. But one thing is that you can never shut them up. They can never be silent. You will always notice them. And that is one thing that is still selling the brand till today. Do you understand? So I'm just trying to tell you this in relation to design. And trust me, if you apply this principle to design, to whatever career you are in, you are going to like make waves. That's that. The next topic now is how to be an expert in any field. How can you be an expert in any field? I thought you guys are going to answer. Who knows? How do you think is the best way for you to be an expert in any field? Anybody? You can drop a chat, you can unmute and say something. Based on your own knowledge, how do you think is it? What do you think someone can do? And once you do that thing, you become an expert. Okay, somebody said practice, the other said practice. Anybody else? I want you guys to talk. Even if you cannot unmute, you can type or you can unmute and say something. I hope you guys don't want me to call your name. Somebody already said practice. Already said practice. I'll call names. Abel. Consistent practice. Learning and diligence in learning and practice. Okay. Corey, you've not said anything. Rebecca, you've not said anything. Linda, Mercy, you've not said anything. Mentorship, continuous learning. Mercy, continuous learning and practice. Okay. Consistency, practice, smart learning, learning from the best. Okay. Okay, learning from the best. Okay, I think that's close to what I have. Who else has not spoken? Oluwagbenga, you've not spoken. I cannot hide. Benga, you've not spoken. Do you want? You can unmute it. You know you don't want to talk. So I want to be. I want to guess Oluwagbenga is not close to his phone. I want to guess that. Okay, now there are two ways for you to be an expert. There are many ways actually. Appreciating small victories in learning process, praying too. Oh God, this is interesting. Yeah. So everything you guys said is very, very important. Of course, very good. But do you know that some people are making money from designs? Some people are making waves from design, and they are not. They don't use their laptop. All they just use to talk. They are called strategists. They do brand strategy. One of them is Tola Ladi. There was a time that I used to design, but I'm not sure he does design like that again right now. They had a lot of people working with him. So what he does is comes to a client, he talks to you, this is what we have to do. You know, he will talk to you like you'll be like, wow, this guy is doing the best work for me. And he's going to send you the work, he's the one to be the one to send it and off, but he's not the one doing the work. Somebody else is doing it. So the place of working, practice and all, yeah, it applies before he started. But right now, that practice of designing and all, it doesn't give you good. Now, how can you be an expert? There are two ways you can be an expert in any field at all, any field. Number one is if you can read 5 books about one topic. Please note it. 5 books about one topic. Then you become an expert in that topic. If you read 5 different books on typography, like it's not like you just read and move on, you study those books on typography, you become an expert in typography. If you read 5 different books on color, you become an expert in color. I'm not talking about the same book, you know that you read one book 5 times. 5 different books. You study them on one topic, you become an expert in that topic. If you might not really necessarily believe this, but then if you want to try it, just pick a topic in whatever field at all you are. Of course, I will say design. Pick a topic on typography. Go and get 5 different books. Not all these books of young designers. I'm talking about books written by experts. Books written by people like Ellen Lupton, books written by people like Chris Du, people like that. Read their books on typography. 5 books. You become an expert in that particular topic. Do you understand? That's why there's something called concentration of energy. If you concentrate your energy toward a particular channel, you become very good at that channel. The second thing that you can do to become an expert in any topic at all in design is for you to have a chat with 5 different experts. When you see that this person is an expert in typography, this person, there are 5 different experts in typography, have a discussion with them separately, the 5 of them separately, like at least a 1 hour discussion about typography with them. They are going to tell you the things they've read, in the past years. The thing that one thing is that those people they practice They've learned, they've got mentorship, they've done mentorship, they've done a lot of things. They are consistent, they are smart. All these things that you guys mentioned, everything, they have it, or they are doing it, or they are practicing it. Now, if they now recommend something to you and they now tell you that this thing doesn't work, this thing works, you should know that it is from their experience. So all these things is going to take a longer time. And that's where mentorship comes in. It will take you a longer time for you to be an expert through practice. Yeah, of course. I'm not saying that you will not be an expert. You'll be an expert. But just imagine if you are practicing and there's no mentorship and there's nobody to talk to, there's no book to read, and you are practicing. How would you even know what to practice? You are smart, you are consistent. You know that you can be consistent in the bad things. I hope you know. But if you want to be consistent, it has to be in a good thing. The things that when you do, is going to like skyrocket you towards you becoming better in your field. So if you talk to 5 different people about a particular topic, they will tell you their insight. And when one person is talking about a particular topic, whatever he's saying is probably based on 300 books that he has read, or 20 books that he has read somewhere, or videos, articles, and a lot of things like that he has learned something from. That's what he's going to be talking about. So, okay, Abraham, say you have a question, please go ahead. You can unmute to ask a question, you can as well type it. Go ahead, Abraham.
Okay, yeah, okay. Good evening. Yeah, I want to ask, okay, like the second point is to chat with 5 different, okay, first, the first question is it 5 books from 5 different authors, or 5 books from one author? That's one. And then also, how do you get to chat these people up? Because in a society that will come, is not everybody that actually, most of them are not really accessible, except maybe through their books. So to get a personal chat with them is very difficult. Do you understand?
I get a question. You have 2 questions. Like, is it 5 different books
or five different books of 5 different books of different authors, or 5 books from different authors, 5 different authors? That's the first question.
Okay. Second question is, how can you get to start with people? Like these 5 people, that these 5 experts I'm talking about. So
yes.
Okay. Okay. To avoid the problems, if you can mute to avoid, thank you very much. Now, to the first question, I actually meant 5 different books from 5 different authors on one topic. So, say for instance, let me pick Chris Du, Tola Labi, Ellie Lupton, and maybe some other people. If Tola Labi writes about typography, Chris Du writes about typography, and Lupton writes about typography, and this guy that wrote Zigzag, that wrote Brand Gap and all, he wrote about typography. Austin Kleon wrote about typography. Those are like 5 different authors. If you now read this, you are reading one topic of typography, from the 5 of them, they have different insights. They've read these different books, they have different experiences about typography. Now they are not putting their experiences in books. You are not reading them. So you have a lot of insights about that particular topic, and you become an expert in that topic. Except if you don't know how to read the book, maybe you just flip through the pages. But if you study the book, you read it very well, you will learn, things that Chris Du will not talk about, and Lupton will talk about it. Some things that Tola Labi will not talk about, or Sinclair will talk about it. The guy that wrote Brand Gap, I can't remember his name actually. So some things that the 4 of them will not talk about, he will talk about it. So you have diverse view of that particular topic. Do you understand? Now, to the second question, how can you get to talk to these people? They're always busy. It is the truth. And if not because of this class, I don't think I would like really have time to like interact with a lot of people like this and be talking to you guys. I have to like block out time for you. And who am I? I'm not even so big like Tola Labi, big like Chris Du and all. But then in my little place, I control few things. And yet I'm very busy. Now, think about people that are now global. They will of course be like more busy than I am. Do you understand? Now, I actually wanted to do a video But then I just disclosed, I've been using the script and all, but then I just didn't do anything. Let me just share the idea with you. And the teacup, I want to call it the principle, but I'm not sure if you guys want to call it the principle. But it's the teacup principle. Now, what do I mean by a teacup principle? Or let me say the coffee principle. And it's the fact that if you want to get to talk to somebody for 1 hour or 2 hours, don't tell them you want to talk to them for 1 hour or 2 hours. Tell them you want to have a chat with them for 15 minutes or for 10 minutes. Do you get? And of course, don't just say, I want to just have a chat with you. You can say, do you mind we go to get a coffee, or do you mind we maybe go to a restaurant, you get a drink for the person, and you also get a drink. So I hope you guys understand what I said. Like, you just get a drink for the person, you also get a drink. Tell the person, I want to just chat with you for 15 minutes. If the person is interested in the topic, the person will spend 2 hours, 3 hours with you. If the person is not interested, you probably not spend 10 minutes. But one thing is that is people love it when you ask them questions about themselves. Ask them questions about their past, about their failures, about their struggles, and about their wins. People love talking about themselves. So when you want to, one thing is, first of all, before you even have access to these people, they are very rare. And the moment you have access to them, you have to utilize it. So that's why you have to tell them that I want to just spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes with you, not 1 hour. But then if they enjoy the topic, of course, they will go as long as 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and 4. I've had that experience before with someone, and I told the person I want to just ask you, like that time I was doing my NYSC. So I told the person that I want to ask you some things. When I finish my NYSC, what do you think I should do? What were the mistakes you made in your life? What are the things that you regretted doing? What are the things you're happy doing? And the person said, I have a meeting in the next 45 minutes. So I'm very sorry, I won't be able to like talk so much. Maybe just 10 minutes. Do you mind? I said, I don't mind. Just go ahead. This person talked with me till the meeting was 5 minutes. The person had to call the guys that were organizing the meeting that please give me the grace of 15 minutes. Like instead of us having the meeting in the next 5 minutes, please make it 20 minutes time. So the person had to talk to me to like 10 minutes to the meeting, then he drove off. So you can imagine the joy or the happiness the person like kind of had when the person was talking to me about himself, about his failures. Do you understand? So it's always good that anytime you have opportunity to talk to these people, just tell them you want 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and try as much as possible to exchange with something. Tell them you don't mind if you can spend 10 minutes with them, and you don't mind taking up a job for them or doing something for them. They will not tell you to do it, of course, but at least they will know the fact that they will appreciate the fact that you even appreciate their time and you are willing to even give out something else for it. Then another way you can talk to them is for you to listen to their podcast, is for you to like go to their YouTube channel, watch their videos, read their books, and they usually do live sessions once in a while. Follow their live sessions. Because doing a live session, for instance, you can ask questions. I'm not talking about IG Live now. I'm thinking about like YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and all. There are some live sessions that you can ask questions. And sometimes these people do free webinars, like a 1 hour webinar or 2 hour webinar. For instance, I'm currently taking a webinar with Money Africa. I don't have access to them at all. But then when I saw that their webinar was out, immediately I had to register. Just to learn from them. Do you understand? So it's always good when you look out for those opportunities to just talk to them so that you can ask questions. I hope I answered your question. Then the last thing is how to stay on top of your design game. the few ways you can stay on top of your design game is for you to number one, practice. And mentorship is so important. Because, and if you remember, in the free class I did before now, I mentioned the fact that mentors are not just good for connecting your work, telling you this is what you should not do, this is what you should avoid. No, mentors even show you around. If you are very good, if a mentor has a job, he doesn't mind passing a client to you because he believes that yes, you handle this client well. You will pass the client to you. You will charge the client. He will tell you, might even tell you, okay, how much do you charge for? Say for instance, how much do you charge for video design? I charge 20,000. And they tell you, no, please charge this client 80,000. And probably you tell the client 6,000. The client say, okay, no problem. The client will pay. So just imagine how what can you equate that to whatever it is you are invested in that mentorship? So clients, I say clients, mentors will show you around to people. Corey, do you want to ask a question? Corey, do you want to ask a question? So I want to assume that like she made a mistake because I thought she was going to talk. Okay, so like I said, mentors show you around. So it's always good when you even like have a mentor, you practice for you to stay on top of the design game. Do you understand? And one thing is this, please and please be ready to dedicate work. Be ready to work. When I say work, I don't mean working for clients. Work on yourself. I can remember vividly, I spent about 3 months without going out and just designing when I started designing. I didn't have the opportunity of taking a class, people teaching me and all. I had to like search and watch YouTube videos like water. Like I was just watching YouTube videos every day, almost every time. So you must be ready to do something like that. I'm not saying you should do exactly that, but then if possible, something better than that. And I can assure you that if you can do it, trust me, you'll be so good. You'll be so good. So, and that's one of the ways for you to stay on top of the design game. Another way you can stay on top of the design game is for you to teach others. If you want to be very good at design, teach others. So I'm not saying that you should go and organize a class and now call people. If you want to do that, fine. But then, when someone comes to you and then someone tells you, please, I did the design, help me correct it, don't push them away. You might be busy, of course, we understand you might be busy, but don't push them away. Try as possible to attend to them. It might not be immediately, but at least ensure that you at least guide them. There are some people that I currently guide now, and they didn't come for any of my class. We didn't have any interaction. Maybe I just saw their design and I send them some corrections, and they'll come to me, oh, I appreciate it, thank you so much. Some people too, maybe they see my design and just, oh, bro, I think you should change this thing. This is like this. I don't think it should be like this. And through that, we'll be talking. Do you understand? So it's always good when you teach others. In fact, one of the best ways you can learn better is for you to teach others. Ensure you teach others almost every time. When you see other people's design, of course you admire it, you appreciate it and all, but then pick something. What do you want to learn from this design? Pick it up. And that's one of the ways you feed your mind.